driver standings and see where we're at for that as we enter into our qualifying run. No one is on a hot lap yet, so you're not missing anything. We do have Lem in first place, 59 points. Riles, also known as 7 in the Mercedes with 43, and Boss with 41 in P3. So very close race. A lot of the reserves have made an impact on the season so far. And again, tier 3, we're trying to find that balance of who's got speed, who belongs here, who doesn't. So we'll see what happens as we're about to get some drivers going out in their first hot lap. We'll look at the constructor standings really quickly here. We have Williams in the lead with 109, followed closely by VCarb with 102, and in P3 we do have Kick Sauber with 58 points. RB has 3 out of the 4 Grand Prix wins of the season, but finds himself sitting in P2. So we'll see what happens as this race gets going. A lot of good pace that we've seen, a lot of common drivers at the front. Hoping to see some more guys get points for the first time, as again, we still have a few drivers yet to score in Blue Knight, Fire DJ, Flower Boy, and the Aston Martins. So let's see what happens as we get going here today. So, whoops, wrong button. Let's go ahead and throw on our gap to leader. All right, now we'll go fastest lap. We're gonna throw that off, throw that on, throw that. All right. I think Flyer DJ might be on the first. No, it looks like the McLarens might be the first 2 out on track. So let's take a look at them. Yes, that's Trace. That's fastest sector, and then followed shortly by the Haas. Do love that McLaren chrome livery. Silverstone's a very good track. Obviously, if you're an F1 fan, you know it's a good track. But right here, you can gain and lose so much time. As we see here, that's going to be a loss of time for sure as he goes wide there at the end of Beckett's. But you can gain and lose so much time, as Mini-C does set the first lap of 27.9, just by not having consistent laps. A lot of room to go off track, as we see there, but he must have lifted to not get the penalty. And just opportunities to gain time by taking good aggressive lines through corners. But then as you get into the race, it's going to be hard to pass through those corners as Trey goes quickest with a 127.9 as well. We'll go take a look at the Haas and went 129. Follow Ryan here as he goes into sector 2. But there's just opportunities. There's opportunities with DRS straights to pass going into, oh, what is that? The last turn before the chicane where you drop down to 5th gear. I have to get my turn names down. A lot of opportunities as more times come through. We see Bala with a P1 provisional P pole at 127.6. Oh, sorry about that. Thank you. Appreciate it, Blue Knight. Just told that I had standings up. I forgot to switch over to the proper scene. Should fix this here. Okay. All right, we should be good to go now. Appreciate it. Sound coming through good though? All right, we're seeing 4 really competitive times very close to each other at the top with Bala, Druid, Trey, and Mini-C. A little bit of a drop off, about 7/10 the next at P5, but we'll see what happens as laps continue to pour through. Let's go ahead down to, you going to bed, Arya? Follow Ryle. Watching race cars. That's it. Oh, no, we're watching. See, it comes down to the final turn. He's going to be a little bit off pace, it looks like. Not bad, though. He goes P2. P2 for 7. Look at the Astons running at 14th and 15th right now. The Burrito's on a push lap as he finishes sector 1. and Sector 2. That's the fastest Sector 2 so far. So track is yeah, you can have good exit through there. A lot of people are going to feel a little more comfortable Silverstone as it's a track that a lot of us love to run. This is going to need to get on the gas here quickly, but not spin. Cabrito moves up to P7. Probably the best lap he's put in qualifying so far this season. Dr. B appears to be on a push lap. Let's see what he does here. Purple Sector 1. Now this is previously a Tier 2 driver who had pace in Tier 2, but found himself near the back often, despite a couple really good performances, just because of inconsistency and a few unfortunate contacts here and there. But he's looking good so far here through Sector 2, as we do have a caution with a Haas in Sector 1, but he appears to be running, so we'll stay here on board with Dr. B. So Dr. B is coming to take his chances in Tier 3, see what he does here, and I imagine he's going to do pretty well, so we'll see. Does go P6 for 127.9. So everyone's got at least one lap done. Icy has 2, Boss has 3. And to get 3 laps done this quickly, I'm guessing that you must just be staying out on those hards. Maybe get some more practice. Have a little heavier fuel, my guess, because you're not able to pit and do outlaps that quickly. So we should start seeing one of our leaders so far, most races, are fighting near the top. Henry yet to set a lap, yet to come out of the pits. So taking his time here to make a decision on when he wants to go out. See, it looks like FR1J has set a 127.5, another reserve, which again, we've seen a lot of reserves performing pretty well, as he's on another, or he's not on a push lap, he's on an inline. So we see another reserve driver looking to be a front contender, which again, not what we're hoping to see too much of, as Boss is starting his flying lap. We'll stick with him here. But that's okay. I mean, if you, as a reserve driver, you can only drive as fast as you can. There's nothing wrong with what you're doing. It's up to us as admins to find the right place for you. And it does get difficult with our assist restrictions that we have on the different tiers. You can be fast, which is great. But if you're fast with full assist and you can't drive with medium assist, then you can't go to Tier 2. But if you're too fast for Tier 3, then it gets tricky. So we'll see how we balance it out. Can always be a little tricky here. As it appears, did Boss pull off there? Looks like he's resetting his ERS, so maybe he's going to go around for another run. It looked like he had a purple Sector 1. Must have made a mistake in Sector 2 that said, you know what, I'm going to forfeit this lap. Maybe not. Yeah, there's no way his battery full like that. See who else we can. Then you see 2/10 up on his time. If he keeps this gap, it would move him up to P4, possibly P3. So let's see what he does here as he finishes up the second half of the lap. Trey goes P1. That's what we like to see, McLaren. I like it. I like it a lot. For 127.2, up 3/10. So the track is definitely coming in as Mini C gets out of Maggots and Beckett's with a good exit here. Nicely done. Really clean through there. As the McLaren Aston Martin appear to possibly have a yellow sector there in Sector 1. There's no collision. All right, let's see where he comes out here. As he goes down the final straight, he does move up to P2 with a 127.3. Really good times that we're starting to see come in here, as he's going to want to go around one more time, get his in-lap done, pit, put out one more lap as Bali goes P1 with a 127.2. Let's see here, down. Up 1/10. We'll stick with Caden here as he looks to improve his time. An improvement of just over a tenth would move him into 4th, so if he can get any more than that, on the second lap. I think we're going to be seeing quite a few drivers jumping up here as track has seemed to improve as it's evolved, as more rubber's been laid down. So we'll see how much this changes. I mean, we've seen a lot of movement here in Tier 3. Henry's still yet to come out of the pits. I wonder if he's... Oh, that's right. Henry, I forgot. Henry did get a qualifying ban last week due to some incidents that he had. And it wasn't necessarily malicious driving, it didn't appear to be, but just too many incidents stacking up. Remember, if you do get, I believe it is 10 penalty points or 9, it's either 9 or 10, you do get your first qualifying ban. So he had to go do one lap around the track just to make sure that his setup loaded and then come through. As Trey goes fastest with a 127.0, up 6/10 from his last lap. That's not Trey. I said 7. Okay. 7 goes fastest, up by almost 2 full tenths on P2. So really good lap from 7. Currently, I believe P2 in our driver standings. Correct? Yes, P2 in our driver standings. Jonah here, driving for Williams this week. Our championship leader, Lem, is in P13 right now in the pits. So a lot of guys are going to be finishing up their lap as we see those waiting in the pits for their final run. Probably going to come out with about, I'd say 2 minutes and 10 seconds to go is when I would leave. Give enough time to warm up those tires and run a lap with as much track degradation. What am I looking for? Track development, I suppose, as you can get. But not risking not finishing a lap. So we'll see when guys start coming out. I always like to wait till the last second. I know my teammate last season, McCoy, always wanted to get out a little early so to avoid traffic, but that's not how I'd like to run. As he goes into Chapel here, want to take as much track as possible. Looks like he laid off a little bit there, or maybe just kind of cut it in. Maybe he's not loving his lap. I was not checking his intervals. As he does dart into the pits. All right. All right, we do have Druid and Boss on outlaps. Where Boss is at on the track. Okay, Druid's going to be putting in his final lap. So our first final lap of the session appears to be, actually, it's that Red Bull. No? Is that Mason? Nope, he just finished that. Okay, so our first last run of the session appears to be McLaren of Druid. So we will follow him around for his lap, and then we'll try to follow those that we can after that. So we're going to have Druid followed by Boss, followed by Lem. Really clean through Sector 1 so far. Goes into the Wellington straight, activating DRS. Looks like he may be giving a tow to the car behind here, which can be tricky if you happen to catch that car. I've had that happen before where I've taken advantage of a tow, but it's caused me to come up behind the car. And we know in this game, dirty air is not good, and you do not want to have your last lap ruined because of contact with the car in front. Oh, and Boss went into the pit, so he's not going to be able to put out in the enters into Maggots, Beckett's, comes around into Chapel here, following through to the hangar straight. Really good lap so far, up 4/10. This would move him into P5 if he keeps this interval. Just needs a solid lap here, or solid finish to his lap, as he has only 3 more turns. Last turn of club. Heading onto the start-finish straight, and Druid does move to P5, improving his time by 3/10. Let's go ahead and look down to Dr. B, 27. Flyer had to give up on his time. So we will follow Dr. B here in the Ferrari as he enters. Let's see where we're at on track here. Enters into Abbey. No, I got that backwards. Henning and Cobbs. Here we go. I was looking at the wrong car there. Let's see. He's going to come through Maggots and Beckett's. We'll see his Sector 2 time. Still pushing, so I'm guessing he's improving. Through Chapel. And he is 5/10 up. 5/10 would improve Dr. B to a P5, so let's see if he can hold on to that. Hopefully not, because we don't want him jumping our boy Druid in the McLaren. What's up, Bryce? How we doing? I am not racing today. I'm just doing commentary for one of our tiers in the league. So if you want to hear me talk a lot, go ahead, hang on. But I'm not full-time driving this season with my Army stuff going on. And Dr. B does move to P3. So we still have Caden or Riles, whatever you want to call him, P1. Or no, that's Riles. That's not Caden. Okay. P1. And we have Bala P2 and Dr. B P3 so far. Let's go ahead and see if we can find another driver. Who's going across right now? Red Bull did not improve his time. Or maybe he was starting his next lap. Okay, we have these two side by side. So Druid coming through. Oh, not a good time. He must have had an issue with 135. But we will follow Mini C. He's coming through with a decent time here. 119 as he enters into the final corners of the lap. Does not improve his time though, so he stays P5. 7 and Bala out there right now. 7 not improving, 1/10 down on his previous lap. He'll want to raise that benchmark if he can try to stay ahead of Bala, a competitor he's had all season. Mercedes, only Mercedes in the car today. Only team that does not have both drivers is Mercedes. And he does not improve his time. In fact, at 1.3 seconds down, Bala 1 second off. He will not be improving. Formula Jonah is improving though, 2/10 off his time. Currently in P8, entering into the final corners. As enters into, I think it's called Vale. And then through Club Corner. And down the start, finish straight. Jonah does move to P3. So that, I believe, is everything we have. As Bala was not improving his time, he goes into the pits. Your grid is set for Silverstone. We do have a reserve FR1J starting on pole by just merely 1600ths of a second ahead of 7, followed by Formula Jonah, another reserve. I think Formula Jonah's a reserve. Yeah, he raced some Tier 2 last season as well. And then Bala P4, Trey P5, Dr. B 6, Vinny C7, Druid 8, Ryan 9, IC 10, Myrtle 11, Myrtle Turtle, Boss 12, Cabrito 13, Lem 14, Flyer DJ 15, Zizzer 16, Alpha Charlie 991 17, Flower Boy 18, and Henry with the quality ban E19. All right, as we're waiting for the race to start, if you're not skipping ahead, because I usually, from this portion, I would skip to the race as I'm rewatching the replay. But if you're not, I have some stuff to talk about. Again, last race, 13 incidents. So just remember, there's a lot of opportunities to pass in a lot of these tracks. Some of them there's not. I understand that. But it's never worth a penalty to crash somebody or to hit them, because it can stack up. As we see our first quali ban of the season, we have several that are starting to get close. So we do have Henry with 10 penalty points. Is that Henry? No, not a bot, with 10 penalty points. And Bala has 6. And we see another with 7. Who's that? Not trying to shame anybody, but Ryan with 7 penalty points. So if you're starting to get close, remember to keep things clean. Do not ready up early in this phase right here. We do not want somebody getting penalized because they ready up too early. One of the last things we want to see, in fact. People need their time. And then just be careful. because we saw a lot of time penalties, and it just comes back to bite you in the butt later on in the race when you might be in 5th place, but because you've got 9 seconds of time penalties just from going off track, it can really hurt. So try to avoid that if at all possible. We've seen too many guys jump up the order who probably didn't deserve a P3, but because they kept things clean, they got a P3. So just be careful. What's up, P-Dog Wonder? Glad to know you're back. All right, here we go. 5 red lights, or 1 red light as you go into our formation lap. FR1J leads him away. Let me get some things set up here. Do appear to be dry. Got a myriad of tire strategies here. As we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drivers electing a soft. You can go 1 stop, you can go 2 stop here. So more than likely those 6 drivers are attempting a 1 stop. I'm not streaming. More than likely attempting a 2 stop. And then we have 5 drivers starting on hards. So they'll be running a little longer, hoping for no too early safety cars. And then the medium runners will be starting on those. Could go 1 stop or a 2 stop. So we'll just have to see what happens. More than likely going to be a safety car here, I'm not going to lie. Silverstone is one of our more common safety car tracks just because of all the overtaking possibilities. However, there is runoff, so as long as the car doesn't slide too far into a wall and get DNF'd, the safety car may not happen. So it's one of those that you just can't depend on a safety car, but you can probably expect it. So look for Jay to maybe try to pull away here early and get a little bit of a gap on those softs compared to the competitors behind him on slower tires. Dr. B probably going to be pretty aggressive early on, as well as Druid and Boss, and 2 of the guys at the back, Alpha Charlie and Henry. So we'll see what happens there. Did Alpha Charlie ever get back into the session? Let's see if I can get him in here. Okay. All right, as I do head into the grid here. Final cars coming up. Henry will be on a tear. We're going to follow him throughout the race. As he starts in those softs, he's going to be starting from a position of trying to pass as early and often as he can. As you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys. And Henry gets a good start. And 7 gets a good start as we go into a turn 1, but not really a passing zone. Everyone seems to keep it clean as a couple go wide. 2 Haas's appear to go wide, as well as Cabrito. And the Aston Martins have fallen to the back. Oh man, people going all over the track here trying to avoid each other, but no one sideways just yet as Henry moves up into P16 and goes off track as well. Flyer DJ moving. Myrtle dropping. We have quite a bit as we have a safety car as the Aston is spun around. Jay still stays in the lead, but Jonah is hot on the tail of 7. As Jay gets an early gap, we'll follow Jonah here. Good start for some, moving up quite a bit. Trey, biggest dropper of 5 positions in the top 10. Dr. B drops 8 from P6 to P14. Something there did not go well for him. As DRS is about to be enabled as they end this lap, we're seeing a little bit of gaps start to form already. DRS train is going to start, it looks like, for the top 8, as long as 7 does exactly what we see here, really dumping his DRS to try to get in, or ERS, try to get in range of that 1 second gap so you can have DRS here. Because the moment that he loses that with those soft tires, Jay is going to pull away. A little slip from Jay there might give the opportunity, but I think he's out of range. Oh, it's not activated. As we do see Trey go into the pits because of damage he must have incurred on lap 1, followed closely by Cabrito, who gets a 10-second penalty on lap 1. And we do see a Haas with some kind of damage down there. Let's see. Or maybe not damage, but incidents. He spins a bit there. Catching Flyer DJ. Maybe contact between these two is what we saw. It looks like DJ has wing damage. He needs to come into the pit. I believe that's what we're seeing here. Yes, indeed he does. He's not able to stay on track. That's going to get dangerous for him. And that could be a race ruiner as you see Trey and Cabrito far behind the rest of the order because of having to pit. So gonna have at least 4 cars praying for a safety car to try to bring them back in the race. Otherwise, it's gonna be a very boring 45 minutes for these guys. All right, we do see Bala getting pretty close here to Jonah. We'll see if he can use DRS through this upcoming, I believe it's called the Hangar Straight here. No, it's not. But with DRS, they're not going to be able to do too much because of this train. Who's close? Who's close? Oh, we got Zizzer pretty close here in 13th. Take a look at him. But again, there's a little bit of a DRS train for him as well. So not able to I was right. It is called the Hangar Straight. Smarter than I think. Henry has moved from P19 to P12, up 7 positions from the start of the race, which is really good for him. As we do see caution in Sector 3. Again, our kick friend puddling around the track, trying to stay on as best he can. Let's pray to everything, the Formula One gods, that he goes into the pits this lap. Otherwise, Flyer DJ is going to hate life even more than he already does. My least favorite turn right there is what we just saw Henry go through, where you want to get on the gas to kind of build up momentum as you go into the sweep, bigger left-hand turn. I'm sorry, the sharp left-hand turn. But it's just tricky because it's a low traction zone. He sticks in 4th gear. I like to drop the 3rd here. He drops the 2nd. Able to get on the gas. But we might see Dr. B go for a pass here on Icy. Let's see what happens as he gets DRS. Or not DRS, as he gets the slipstream. Going into Maggots and Beckett's is not the place to do it. But if he can stay close through Maggots and Beckett's, he will get an opportunity on the Hangar Straight to move into the points. Let's go on board. He falls back a little bit. He was a little bit closer than this when we first joined, but the DRS does appear to be enough of an advantage to get him into P10. So nice, easy move there. Those are the moves you want to wait for as Icy goes late on the brakes to stick it outside. Doctor thought about going inside, thought better of it. Definitely wise. He's going to get another opportunity here on this straight with a better exit, but the curb is going to slow him down quite a bit. As we see a bit of a gap here from 10 to 9. Intervals are starting to spread out a little bit throughout the field, as we're only seeing a couple drivers within DRS range in the top 10. And you see Jonah making a move possibly on P2. I'll stick with these front 3 for a second. This appears to be some good racing. A lot of ERS saving from these guys. And they turn their ERS back to medium, it appears. 7 trying to make a move here on Jay. As he goes wide, that's going to give an opportunity for Jonah. Oh, but he wasn't close enough to capitalize. We do have an Aston Martin getting a lap here. Ghosted, I believe that's Charlie. Where is it? It is Cabrito. I don't think I saw that. as Jay gets passed by 7 on the outside. Oh, we got some really good racing here. 7 holds on to the position for now as he keeps the inside line, but he will not have it on the following turn. Let's see if they keep it clean. They do. No one gets pushed off. It's opening up a door for Jonah, though. If he can get a better run here, he's going to be able to capitalize. And Jonah does go to the inside. Tops. All we see is the one overtake. Jonah had an opportunity to make a double overtake there because of the fighting from the front two. Maybe a little bit of a through goes Hamilton moment, but 7 does make the move on Jay, and they do hold Jonah off in the top 3. Let's see the field. That allowed the field to close up quite a bit, though. As we see a DRS move, no, thought about it. Icy currently and Jonah are only 2 drivers to be in the position they started the race in. Jonah takes a look inside on Jay, and he's gonna make that mistake. Ooh, a little bit of contact. Nothing worth reporting, just a little bit of rubbing. As we're starting to see the softs, I think, start to fade away a little bit here on Jay. I mean, they're not gonna last too long. He's able to stick the lead here as we enter Maggots. Beckett's. And into Chapel here. But I imagine with that gap, Jonah's going to have an opportunity to make an overtake. Oh, he does have DRS, but again, just the traction of those hards, the crossover is going to be happening pretty soon here. And Jonah's crossover on 7, who I believe started mediums, should be following quickly. He does get the move done. Let's see if Jay thinks anything of going to the inside. He does not. Those front 4 are now, as Mini C has also come into the battle, been able to run a clean race by himself, as we see an Aston stuck on track. It's not Cabrito, it's Alpha Charlie. He gets moving again, so it appears the safety car is not going to happen here. But Jay now has been passed by both cars behind him. The soft strategy not paying off just yet. Not able to build a gap despite starting. So he's going to want to try to pit, I'd say, relatively quickly, or hope for a safety car to save his strategy, because you would hope that your soft starting from pole would be able to help you build up a little bit of a gap in those first 6 laps. But nothing was ever able to come of that. Let's see. As Alpha Charlie does go into the pits, hopefully not to retire. Let's throw on tires here. Burrito with 2 stops already. Trey, Charlie, Myrtle Turtle, and Fire DJ have 1. All right, so strategies. We're going to see Jay, Druid, and Boss be our top 10 drivers that should be pitting relatively soon, I would imagine. 7, having the quicker tire than Jonah right now. Crossover from medium to hard is not quite yet, as you can do a 1-stop here at Silverstone. So we'll have to see what happens. Let's see. We see P12 and P11 with a little bit of a change here as they go side by side. 10-second penalty for Bala, one of our consistent leaders, currently not having his best race in P6 as he pits and gets a 10-second penalty with 6-lap-old mediums. So I wonder if he picked up damage to have to pit with those 6-lap-old mediums, or as he throws mediums on. I don't know if he started with softs or not. He's going to fall, though. That's going to cost him. But we see good racing here between Vizzer and whoever he was alongside. Appears to have disappeared. Intervals are all out of whack right now. Let's see here. Our closest racing is still with Mini C, trying to make his way into 3rd, as again the tire offset is going to start paying off for him. Jay's able to stay in DRS range of Jonah, which is helping him defend Mini C, but I think we're going to see an overtaking move here rather quickly just because of that offset on tires. Championship leader Lem currently in 7th, as we do see a caution in sector 3, but nothing of consequence. Mini C can put some consistent sectors together here. He should be able to make the move. But again, Mini C, not one of our leaders that we've had often. I think this would be a best points finish for him so far this year, if I remember correctly. As Jay does say, you know what, these softs are done. I'm going to go into the pits, and that promotes Mini C into P3. Let's see what Jay does when he comes out. We would expect the fastest lap from Jay when he does come out. Let's see if we can follow some people we don't see too much. Good pit stop, no damage for him, so he should be fine. As we're starting to see some in the pits. Bala with his 10-second pen. Flower Boy closely behind Bala, are really only driver anywhere close to anybody in 1.2 seconds. But we do know Bala has those fresh tires, so he's gonna be falling behind pretty quickly. And Bala comes out right behind Jay, actually. So that tire offset, he came out on those fresh mediums and caught up to Jay quickly, because Bala was like P6 or 7 when he pit, and now he is hot on the tail of Jay, who puts on hards. So we would expect 1 lap old mediums to get a move done here as he goes to the outside. Oh, there wasn't much there though. Able to keep it clean, but we would imagine that with the traction and warmed up tires, he should already have tires to temp, able to make a move, and he's using all the ARS he has, which is about 10% if I'm reading my screen correctly. You would hope to get a move done, but it's not looking that way as they come up on the ghosted Aston Martin again. Into Maggots and Beckett's. And that's that caution that I think we keep seeing pop up is every time someone passes the ghosted Aston Martin, because of how slow the fuel strike. He disconnected after qualifying and then never rejoined, so I'm not sure what that is all about. As we see 4 drivers enter the pits, we're going to follow this. 5 drivers now. As Mini-C exits first, followed by Druid, Lem, and Boss. So we'll see how they come out as they come out on 2 on mediums and 2 on hards. So we'll see how that pays off for them. 7 still running out on his 8-lap-old mediums, trying to make him last as long as he can. No safety car yet. Icy now up to P5, just 2/10 behind Zizzer in hard tires. So Icy's going to try to make a move here, despite Zizzer being on the better tires at this part of the race. Not a place to do it. I was going to say, whew. You have to know where your location's on track, you can make a move. Get through Maggots and Beckett, stay close here, and hope for something on this DRS straight. Get a good exit here on Chapel, and he doesn't, and that's going to cost him. He would have had a better exit. I think he's still going to get the move done because of DRS. As Zizzer defends, or Ice, yeah, I'm sorry, Zizzer defends the inside line. Appears to clearly get through here, and nicely done. Ryan does pick up a 10-second penalty. And Icy does all that work to overtake just to dive into the pits. No 10-second penalty for Icy. That should help him. He does a good job there on that stint to move up quite a few positions. All right, people we should see plummet as they get passed by those who have already pit. Icy's going to drop. Ryan's going to drop. And Bala with a 10-second penalty is going to hurt him, but we should see Druid and Boss and Lem all moving up as they pass those pitted cars back up to where they were. Only a few drivers left to pit. 7 on the 9-lap-old mediums doing very well to keep his lead and a 3-second gap despite having 2 hard runners behind him. And we don't really see that gap ticking down. In fact, it is growing. So 7 in a very good position right now to win this race with 16 laps remaining. And then Zizzer in P3, a far cry from actually being P3. And then we only have Flower Boy on 9-lap-old hards, and that is it. Those are our only drivers who have yet to pit. We did have several drivers who had to pit, like Trey on lap 1, who has 8-lap-old hards. We'll see how far he tries to go. Again, he's going to be praying for a safety car, because if he can run these laps for say another 8-9 laps and then be able to throw some mediums, because mediums back on the start of the race with, then he'll be looking good. But we'll just have to see what happens. So Jay, climbing back up the field, has moved back to P3, and with these tires, he's now 20 seconds behind Jonah. And let's see, I'll look up quick how long the safety car is. Safety car window. He's trying to make this strategy work. You lose 25 seconds when you pit. So, as of right now, Jay would come out in the lead when Seven and Jonah pit. So, we thought that strategy on starting on softs was not working for him, but it appears to be doing so now. Because when they pit, he should have a 5-6 second gap on Jonah, and then a 2 or 3 second gap on Seven. So 25 seconds lost of time in the pits. So we'll just have to see when they pit, and then again, assuming Jay's going to have to pit again, I can't imagine he's going to run these hards for 17 laps like this. Maybe he's going to try to do a one-stop soft to hard. But we're going to see a little bit of fight here, I think, in the top three. Take a look at Mini C as he's getting closer to Bala. Again, Bala with a 10-second penalty for speeding the pit lanes. That is not going to get removed, so you hope to not see him hold somebody up who's trying to fight for a podium. As Mini C's P5, even after pitting, so good for him. Druid now has also pit, but he's a good 10 seconds behind the top 5, so that's going to hurt him for sure, but he has a good chance at some solid points. Trey closing in on Lem, a championship leader, as he appears to have an issue, and Henry gets another penalty for speeding in the pit lane. He had climbed up so far from P19 with his quali ban, but a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane is going to cost him probably a position or two at least, depending on what the intervals look like. And he was hoping to climb back into the points and just salvage something, as Mini does get past Bala to sit in P4 for now, the position he was actually running in already. Now Druid, just 10.3 seconds out of P5, really wants to climb up into that 10-second window to Bala, try to get capitalized, if possible, top 5 finish. Who else? Sorry, I really like Cockpit Canada. It probably doesn't have the best broadcasting. All right, Zizzer. Only 4/10 off of Flower with fresh mediums after he's just pit. So remember, he was running P3 for a little bit there, but then that 25-second pit stop sends him down to P14, which we thought might be a little bit more realistic of where he was. And he's got an opportunity here. Let's see what he does. Now again, he's got the freshest tires on the track besides Henry. So he's going to have an opportunity to move up here and try to pass a lot of these guys, at least initially. He's got a bit of a gap to the cars in front, as we see, yep, just another caution for passing the Ghosted Aston. But he should get the move done here on Flower Boy. We'll actually go back to broadcast cam, as he does into Cobbs. And now he's on the hunt. He's got to try to take 6 seconds off Icy, and then he has an opportunity to start climbing back into the points. Again, Dr. B has that penalty, and Boss and Trey, I'm sorry, for sure has to pit, and probably Boss. I can't imagine Boss can go 13 miles. So Zizzer gonna have to pit as well. We'll have to see what happens as Alpha Charlie gets a penalty, which I believe is with the Ghosted car. Not sure how that is. He not? Or maybe Cabrito is the Ghosted. No, I can't. All right, Mini C has moved into P2, is only 8/10 off of our leader Jay, as 7 has pit and fell to P4. So despite a 3-second gap to P2 on those mediums and running really well, when he pit, he did fall all the way down to 4th place, but he does have 6-lap faster tire or fresher tires as he goes into P3 as Bala pits. And he does have faster tires, and he's probably going to be able to go the rest of the way. If he can run 13 laps on mediums, something tells me he can run 13 laps on hards. So 7 still in a very good opportunity as Bala and Ryan both pit Ryan only running 4 laps on those hards. Wonder if he got damaged, because I think they can run a little bit more than that. It's going to be difficult for these two. I was going to say it'd be difficult for them to fight back into the points. It very well may be, because Scissor in P11 is several seconds ahead of them. And is he going to have to pit again? I would imagine he's going to have to pit. So they're going to have a chance to maybe fight back into the points, but it's going to be difficult. All right, we see Mini trying to get close to Jay. Again, ignore that caution. It's just I expected to see some issues here with the overtaking opportunities, but if you look at the map in the bottom right, the cars are just so spread out that we're not really seeing that many overtaking opportunities where we can see incidents. But if we look here, we do see Boss and Trey really close, as Trey is on 12 lap old hards. Again, he had that lap 1 incident that caused him to have to pit, and Boss now on 5 lap old mediums, probably going to get a move done here pretty quickly. This is not really Trey's fight, as we know Trey is going to have to pit again. But if he can just try to keep things clean, maybe tuck in behind Boss and hang on to his DRS. Oh, as there we go. We do see Trey going to the pits. Going to throw on mediums, I would guess, for these last 11 laps. And see if he can try to fight back into the points after a very difficult start. I hate to see those lap 1 incidents. 7 already climbing back up towards the top 3. Close to Jonah now. With DRS activated, is he going to make a move here? No. Wisely, I think. Too far back, over 5/10. He's going to get an opportunity later on the Hangar Straight. I think that's his next real opportunity. Now, Jonah and 7 both have the same lap that they pit on. So 2 lap old tires, and Jonah has mediums. So trying to run mediums to the end is advantage Jonah now. But as Jonah goes wide, he's going to let the door close a little bit to 7 here. Again, not going to be able to pass into Maggots and Beckett's, but he's going to have the opportunity as he goes down the Hangar Straight. Goes down forward. Not using as much battery as I would have expected. I would have tried to use that DRS, use that battery, and just fly through there to catch up to the leaders. But he declined, declines. He threw it on his 6 lap cards, not 1. So probably going to have to pit again. 7 struggling to catch Jonah with that tire as the race continues. 7's probably our only runner that's going to be able to go the rest of the race. Maybe Jay, he's going to do a soft hard strategy, but he's going to have to really work to keep those hards in to last another 10 laps. Doctor, we see racing with Boss, and he does get past him despite having tires, but again, tire offset. 9 lap old hards, probably better at this point than 7 lap old medium. I've been impressed by the clean overtakes here. We haven't really seen any issue, especially after what we saw in Brazil last week. It's really clean race. 7's down to only 4/10, 3/10 behind Jonah. We're going to go on board. Let's see if this is the lap he gets the move done. P3. As Mini C goes into the pits, again, going to lose 25 seconds. This is going to drop him down to maybe 10th place. As he goes on one more set of tires. Let's see where he drops to. From P2. Luckily, there's quite a bit of a spread here in the field. He might be able to come out ahead of Lem and stay in P6. That's going to be his goal as Lem comes down the start-finish straight. You'll see him on the right side of your screen, and Lem does overtake. Does he stay ahead of Dr. B? I don't think so. It looks like he's going to drop all the way down to maybe 8th or 9th place here. And he does drop to 8th place with Icy right on his tail. In fact, Icy does get past. So, Mini C slots into 9th place after throwing on those tires from 2nd. That does move Jonah into 2nd. 7 into third, and we have our original top 3 back in place. Druid in fourth, again, probably going to have to do something similar to what Mini C just did, albeit a little bit later and with less time to make up time, because I don't know if he's going to try to put, what is that, 17 laps on those hards. So we'll just have to wait and see. We'll go back to 7. He is now in 4/10 from P2, and this is the lap he gets it done. Nice, easy overtake. Really, in my opinion, the main overtaking zone. I mean, you have a longer DRS straight into a better braking zone. That first DRS zone is just kind of tricky to get a pass done because you don't get good exit out of there often. But here, you're able to build up speed out of Maggots and Beckett's. If you get a good release, you got a chance. As you do see Jay go into the pits, I imagine we weren't going to see him go too far. And he might drop to P4 as Druid is coming down the main straight. Yep, he does get past. And does he even drop behind Lem? Let's see here. We'll take a look at Lem. And Lem does get by as well. So Jay drops only to P5 compared to what happened with Mini C. But now Mini C is just only about 2 seconds behind Jay. So still close to each other, still having opportunity as we saw more drivers pit. Lucky for Mini C, he didn't have to fight through that much traffic to be able to catch back up to the leaders. So 7 now, again, I do believe he's going to try to do a 1 stop. And with that being the plan, he's going to have to try to make those tires last as long as he can, because these guys, Jay and Mini C, are going to be on the charge. Jonah, again, probably can run, what do we got, 8 laps left, 9 laps left, 8 laps left. Jonah probably can go the rest of the way. I think Jay and Mini are going to have a better opportunity to catch Jonah than they will 7. So we'll just have to see. Jay with mediums. Jay's got a good shot to fight back up to 7. We'll just have to see what happens. All right, Zizzer, 3/10 down, 5/10 down Bala now. It looks like we may have just missed an overtake, actually, or perhaps an attempt. On 6 lap old hards, 7 pumps in the fastest lap of the race. So really good looking race for 7. Looks like he might get his first win, I believe, of the season. Let me check. Yeah, he's had a P2 twice, but never a P1, as Mini C then pumps in the fastest time. All right, we do see Zizzer going to the pits, so this is going to drop him down a bit. And we see our penalties here have changed a little bit. We've got 10 seconds for Henry and Carly, as I think it was Bala had one that he was able to pit off. So being able to pit off those time penalties will help them, as Ryan picks up another for more track limits and now has 6 seconds of penalties, but doesn't appear to make much of a difference as the next closest car to him is 14 seconds behind. Overall, very clean race though. Again, big gaps. You see Doctor is about a second behind Lem, our championship leader, who's going to maybe only come away with 2 points. Again, I think we're probably going to see Trey pit here soon. I can't imagine that he's going to be able to make those hards last that long. Oh, he's already pit. Okay, so Trey has done his pit stop and missed it, and he's able to stay in P8. So after having to pit lap 1, he's had a good clean race to climb back into the points. He's going to be able to finish this race on those hards with only 6 laps to go. As Druid picks up a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, running in P3, this is going to hurt him drastically, as, well, he might be lucky enough because cars behind him have some gaps to only lose 2 positions. But he had a podium possibly on the board, maybe even a top 5 finish. But a 10-second penalty is going to hurt. Speeding the pit lane is not something we want to see at this point in the race, especially with the inability to pit it off. That is what the kids like to say, unfortunately. Really good race he was having too. Perfectly clean, moved up several positions, and just unfortunate to see. So right now with a 10-second penalty, I mean, that's going to drop him close to out of the points, if not out of the points, as he has a 3-second gap, and then about 2, 5. Yeah, he would drop out of the points if the race were to finish now. So he has to pray there's no safety car and pray that on these fresh mediums he just put on that he can put up a gap and try to hold these people off. Try to still get a points finish. We'll just have to see what happens. Lucky for him, Dr. B has a 10-second penalty, so that one won't be coming into effect. All right. Let's see. Lem coming up close on Trey. He does have fresh tires, and he does have the faster tire. So we'd imagine that this is going to be a move done rather quickly. Trey hopefully knows the penalty that his teammate has, and is going to try to hold up these guys as best he can. Jay now 17 seconds off of 7. If 7 were to have to pit with 5 laps to go, he would fall into about P4 and maybe have an opportunity to fight back, but he's not going to want to do that. He's going to hold off and think, I really doubt that you are going to have 4 seconds a lap faster than me, especially after he just pumped in the fastest lap. So 7's one stop definitely looks like a strategy to run, as he is running away with this race. A 16-second gap, only 5 laps to go. So this looks like the race for him. But Jay picks up a 3-second penalty. Mini C only 4 seconds off. And as those hards come in and the mediums maybe start to fall away, Mini C might see an open window to say, I just got to get within 3 seconds now, and I have P2. Jonah as well, closing in. Again, only on 1 lap old mediums. He's going to be trying to get past Mini here and get in that range of Jay if Mini can't. So we could see, it looks like 7 definitely P1, but that podium could shake out any number of ways. Bala now only 4 tenths behind his teammate Icy, as he does get the move done on his teammate with 4 lap pressure tires. And Jonah's fighting. He is trying to get in that range, try to maybe pick up a P2 or a P3 here. Good racing from Red Bulls to keep it clean. Druid now has had opened his gap up to his teammate a little bit to 4.5 seconds. When he came out of the pits, it was 3. So if he can maybe open that a little bit more, he might have an opportunity. He does have the freshest tires out of the cars behind him, so he's going to want to run as quickly as he can to try to pull away. I went to the wrong person. To try to pull away from some of these guys, as we see a kick go wide and slide back and forth here and there and everywhere. Hopefully not bringing out a safety car. That Flyer DJ, it was. Does he have a wing? All right, no safety car. I saw him sliding back and forth. It's our same friend that was having a little bit of a spin and a little bit of a interesting driving line going into the grass. Maybe saw some long blades that deserved to be hacked. But hey, it's tier 3. We're developmental tier. This is where you learn to race. I'm guessing with the sliding that we saw, he's not having assists on, so more power to him. All right, Jonah, it's getting close to Mini C on those fresh softs, or fresh mediums. Again, especially at this stage of these tires' lives, he has an opportunity to get a pass done here. Not probably on this turn, not entering into Cobbs, but when they exit, what's the name of the turn? Hairpin, which is called Farm. When they exit the farm, I see no farms on this track. Right here, he's going to get DRS. So if he got a good run, which he is close to the Alpine, a little bit, you can see that dirty air making him have a little bit less traction than the Alpine in front of him. 10-second penalty for severe collision for Lem, sending Trey far down the order. And he has broken his wing. So if you ask me, that looks like probably something incident Lem that is going to knock the McLaren driver well out of the points to get hit past him. Not something I like to see as the McLaren team principal. I wish I was following it so I could yell at Lem. Again, I don't know what happened, but usually when the rear driver has a broken wing, it's probably the rear driver's fault. Unless the McLaren driver said, no, sir, I don't like you being close. I'm going to slam on the brakes. Otherwise, I have to say that I think that's probably a a Lem incident. We'll have to wait and see what happened there. As Jonah does now get past Mini C, we saw that was coming, and he's going to go on the hunt now. He has 3 laps to make up about 1.8 seconds to try to get in the time penalty range of Jay. Jonah does have the faster tires. He has clean air now, and he has an opportunity to hunt him down to try to get that P2. Now, Mini's not going to give up. Granted, he has older tires, but he does have hards. He's going to try to stay in DRS and Jonah, and then maybe try to get an overtake on the last lap, because he still says, you know what, I know you're hunting down P2, but I certainly would like P3. So he's going to try to stick with him. We might see a little bit of a battle here for P3. No other battles really anywhere else on track right now. Dr. B picks up a 3-second penalty, but as he's running in P8 with over a 5-second gap, I think he should be okay, unless he has 6 seconds. Oh, he's going to want to open up that gap. Definitely. All right, we're going to stick with these guys for a little bit. Only battle that we see on track. A little bit of a rundown. What we see right now. Let's throw those penalties back on the board. I can kind of talk about what we have for position. So we have 7 winning the race, almost definitely. It looks like Jay is going to hold on to only a couple laps to go as we continue to see battles for P3 between Mini and Jonah. Bala probably finishing P5, which is really good for him considering the 10-second penalty that I believe he had. Druid looks like he's definitely going to lose a position to Icy with that penalty, but he, I think, is going to hold the position for P7 unless Boss claims it. So at worst, Druid maybe finishing 8th place, and then Boss probably finishing 7th or 8th, Icy like 6th. We'll see what happens here as these continue on. But we see this is getting really close as they start to pass the lapped car of Ryan down in P16. Hopefully Ryan lets these cars by, because the last thing you want is a ghosted car giving DRS to your leader and making it so we can't see action. Because while I got nothing against Mini, I like seeing overtakes, and when you're stuck in a DRS behind a lapped car, it's not as exciting. Doctor has gotten close to Druid, only 7/10 down now. I wonder, did Druid have a moment? I don't remember Doctor being that close. Oh no, Icy. I'm sorry, Icy's faster. Druid must have had a moment. I believe he had a pretty decent gap. Henry puts in the fastest lap, but not in the points, so he's not going to get that extra point, but it probably takes one away from 7, I think, who was carrying that. As we enter the last lap of the race, 7 out ahead, way out ahead, and Formula Jonah and Mini C still fighting for that P3, that final podium spot. Let's see. 3-second time penalty to Icy is not going to at all. Not in the slightest. Because the penalties behind him, that is not going to be a problem for him at all. Good overtaking opportunity here. Probably the second best chance. And it does not appear that the Alpine has DRS. He does not. Jonah gets closer here, 4/10 as we enter into the high-speed section of the track. Half a second down, closing in as much as he can. Let's see what the battery situation looks like here. Oh, almost no battery to stick with Mini. So he's not going to have that battery advantage at all. As we look at Mini, he has even a little bit more, just barely. So he's going to be relying fully on DRS here in the last overtaking opportunity, 8/10 down. I don't think it's going to be enough. And we'll go to 7 here as we see 7 coming down the final turn as he goes to his first Can-Am victory and is able to clinch P1. We look back to Jay coming across 12 seconds later. He's going to get that P2 as he's barely 9/10 free. As Trey picks up a penalty, but that shouldn't affect him, I don't believe. And we see Jonah come away with P4, Mini P3, Bala coming down P15. As we do see some moves here between Zizzer and Lem. Again, Lem with a 10-second penalty that shouldn't affect too much. Icy and Druid are now close. As the Red Bull goes off, Druid gets past, but with that 10-second penalty is going to hurt him as he goes a little bit wide there. Icy goes off track to make a pass. Again, not making a difference with these penalties. And now Boss does overtake Druid because of that. Alpha Charlie gets a 10-second penalty for unserved drive-through. And we see our top 10 rounded out. So your point scorers: 7, Jay, Mini, Jonah, Bala, Icy. Good day for Red Bull. Dr. B, the reserve, gets some points, and we'll continue to look at it as we finish here. Congratulations, 7. Nice job. Really clean race. One stop paid off. I think that was by far the best strategy you could run here, especially with a 25-second penalty for pitting. If you could avoid damage and avoid having to pit, I think the one stop was, as we see here, a 15-second gap, easily the best strategy. So hard to medium or medium to hard, whatever it was. He made those mediums last 13 laps. He made it work. He didn't lead the whole race, but he was patient, didn't get into any trouble, and because of that, he won the race, which is just the way to do it. If you can just be patient, let yourself follow a little bit and know what your strategy is, it pays off. So really good job, 7. Good job to Jonah, and I believe it was what was his name? FR1J and Mini C. Really good races for both of you. All right, I gotta do this. Okay, do this. Again, I don't think we're gonna see too many penalties here, as it appeared to be a pretty clean race. So really nicely done. All right, hopefully we do get to see those standings updated rather quickly, because I don't think there's going to be too many reports. But Lem only getting a few points this week. If he even got one, I think he might have finished in 10th place. I'm not sure exactly. I can't remember what the results were with the penalties. But we're going to see 7, I think, move into first place in the driver standings, getting his first win with 2 P2s, and not having a reserve win was nice as well. So 7 moving to P1 more than likely in the driver standings. And Boss had a decent race. You think he got 7th place? I don't think Red Panda raced today. If he did, I did not follow him. Williams. I wonder if we had a. All right. Well, that is your race for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And again, very nicely done, drivers. Cleaned it up quite a bit. Still some things here and there. I think we might see something between Lem and a couple of guys. So we'll just have to wait. Nice work. And I will see you guys next week. So long.